What is up, everybody? Welcome to UFC Vegas 37 Best Bet, where we are going to give the best bet on each and every single fight of the card. I'm here with Wheezy, Narco Cop, and special guest, MMA Lock of the Night. We'll kick it to him first. Lock, you're going to be here for 15 to 20 minutes. We're going to break down 4 fights with you, and then you'll head out. What is up, Lock? You looking forward to this card?
Yeah, man. Slightly bummed that I get to miss the live portion of it, right? Just because I'm going to a regional MMA show myself in the next hour or so. So I'm on a complete social media blackout. After I hop off the stream, I'm not bothering with anything. But there are some certain fights I'm very much looking forward to. Obviously, Jackson and Bays should be as fun for as long as that one lasts. The main event has me a little bit intrigued because I'm hearing more takes now, and people are actually thinking that Spann's going to win by decision, and that's a little bit weird to me because that's almost one of the more least likely outcomes I actually see happening in that fight. But yeah, happy to break this card down with you, man. There's a ton of good fights. Apologies that it's short notice nature and short here in terms of 20 minutes, but let's get done what we can, man.
No, for sure. Thanks for coming on. Narco Cop, what is up? Are you looking forward to this card?
What's up, Brady? Yeah, always looking forward to fights, man. Come on. Every fight card is a good card for me. Yeah, thanks for that.
True that. Wheezy, what is up? You looking forward to this card today?
Definitely looking forward to it, man. I got a few bets out there for this one. There are some good fights. There are some not so good fights, but definitely a lot of exciting stylistic matchups that I can't wait to get into with you guys. And I'm looking forward to winning some money tonight, man. I want to keep the winning streak rolling here, so I need to pick you guys' brains too to make sure I didn't make any shit bets, and then we'll go on from there and try to shave these bookies' asses.
All right, let's shave it. I agree. Before we get into it, guys, if you can leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Do you want to shout out the chat real quick? Gaming Wolf, Peter in here. We have Dope Space Cowboy, Mikey in the chat, Monk in the chat as well, JSJ in the chat, Daz hanging out. Thank you all so much for hanging out. And I say we get into it. And so I hit up Lock. I said, Lock, we're going to talk about 4 of the most exciting fights on the card. So I think we should start with the most exciting fight on the card, Emily Whitmire versus, just kidding. We're going to talk about Montel Jackson going against JP Bays, a fight that I'm really looking forward to. And Locke, we'll actually kick this one off to you. Locke, what is your best bet for this fight here?
I'm eating the chalk on the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 200-ish. I really like it here. I don't like the durability from the JP Bay side of things. And, I think that Montel Jackson still has enough time to go out there, fulfill his potential that a lot of people believed he had, even before his first loss in the UFC. Is JP Bays close to what Ricky Simone is able to bring to the table in terms of the wrestling? I just don't think so. He could have early success here. I just don't think it's something that he can maintain going forward for the majority of this fight. So I'm bummed that the over-under was set at 1.5. If it was set at 2.5, I'd probably take that as the widely available total. But I decided to go with the fight doesn't go to decision, and obviously parlayed it with something later on in this card just to get some better odds there. But I do like the fight doesn't go to decision here, man. I think it's going to be chaos. I think Jackson will be able to hurt Bays, and Bays has notoriously been known to kind of look for the exit, right? Like he's just saying check please whenever things are not really going his way. And not to mention, I'm sure you guys saw that fight a couple fights ago where he took a shot to the back of the head, and I thought he was milking it, and he found his way out in that fight. But with Montel Jackson, I think he's going to land on him. I think he'll be able to get him out of there. Maybe a possible submission situation as well. Maybe a desperation takedown from Bays, finds himself in a nasty choke, which we know Montel Jackson is very good at. But yeah, I know a lot of people just saying Jackson inside the distance, but I just want to cover that possible JP Bays outcome in this early fight, right? Like, say what you want about him, say that he's fragile, say that he's not durable, but he does have some decent skills that he should be able to go out there and have some success with early. But then after that, I think it's just going to be all Montel Jackson. I like Jackson inside the distance, but specifically, the fight doesn't go to decision.
Yeah, I'm going to 100% agree with you there. That was mine as well. Fight doesn't go to decision, minus 196 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I actually see on some books it's minus 185, minus 188, which really does not make sense to me. I completely agree with everything you said. I think if Bays does have success, it's going to be early, but we've seen time and time again, if he does not get his opponent out of there early, he's going to gas out. He's going to quit. He's been finished in all of his losses. You mentioned the one fight where he should have lost, but he got a disqualification win, and then he's actually won all of his wins inside the distance as well. So JP Bays has never been to the scorecards, and I don't think that changes here. So I think there's a ton of value, to be honest, on the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 196 on FanDuel. I see it minus 185 for some reason, so that's what I'm going with right there with you. Lock, Wheezy, what are you looking at for this fight?
Yeah, I'm right there with both of you guys on this one, but I'm going to get just a little bit greedier and just go with the Jackson to win by KO or submission. The double chance there, the inside the distance bet at minus 165 right now on DraftKings. the short notice for Bays really bothers me. The fact that he got knocked out by Bruno Silva down at 125 really bothers me. The fact that he's coming up a weight class really bothers me. And then the fact that he's got to fight Montel Jackson bothers me more than all of that. So I'm just going to get a little bit greedier than you guys. Just pick Jackson inside the distance at minus 165.
Brady,
like
can I just add something real quick?
Yep.
I've heard some takes, like people are saying, you know, if he couldn't finish a guy like Felipe Carlares, what makes you think he's going to finish a guy like JP Bays? Completely different fighters. And also, go back and watch that fight. He threw everything and the kitchen sink at this dude and he wouldn't go out. You're telling me if we get that same Montel Jackson here against JP Bays, again, check please. Let me get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Kalorish is tough. I don't think Bays is tough, to be honest. Narco, what do you have for this fight here?
So I'm pretty much on the same boat with you guys. I do have an actual bet of JP Bays by submission at plus 1600. I just think that line is off. Just because, you know, Montel, you know, he doesn't have the best fight IQ. I'm going to say that. And he tends to get stuck. I don't remember exactly who it was, but he had his back for a little bit and he almost got a choke in there. I think it was Carlares in the Carlares fight, even though he got beat up really bad. But, the actual bet that I like right now and I see is the under 2.5 at minus 152. I'm going to be a little greedy, like Wheezy said. My greediness comes instead of taking the doesn't go. You're saving about 50 points there. The under 2.5 is not a bad bet because I do think as long as this stays standing, JP Bays is going to be in trouble. The length, you know, just the boxing skills of Montel Jackson. He's a lot more athletic. I just think if Bays wants to win this year, he needs to get this to the ground as soon as possible.
Yep, agree there. Daz with the dono in the chat saying shave today. I do need to shave really bad, but I don't think it will be today, Daz. Sorry about that. But we will move along to the next fight that I sent Locke in terms of being very exciting. And the fight that I sent him is going to be Joaquin Buckley going against Antonio Arroyo. So we'll kick it off to Uncle Weezy first. Uncle Weezy, what are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, I'm going to be the contrarian here, even though I haven't heard any of your picks on this one. But see, I'm just of the opinion that I'm not impressed with either of these guys, really. And the fight goes to decision for this fight is plus 215. I'm going to bank on the fact that both of these guys are going to be disappointing because they've both disappointed me in the past. And I'm going to think that neither one of these guys does enough to get the job done inside the distance. And I'll take that plus 215. Maybe put a half unit down to win over a unit there. That's how I'm looking at this one. I'm just not impressed with either of them. I think that the fight doesn't go to decision is just way too wide.
Yeah, I noticed that earlier in the week. It's minus 350 on FanDuel right now. The fight goes as plus 240. I agree that it is very wide. Yeah, definitely a contrarian take for sure, but Arroyo has never been knocked out. He's only been submitted when he loses inside the distance, and Buckley has no submissions on his record. So I definitely get it there. Narco Cop, which way are you looking here?
I don't really have a bet on this fight, but if I was to take something, I probably would take Buckley by KO at plus 125. I just think, you know, just because he's the much smaller guy, but damn, he's got a fucking really long reach. And I think that overhand, that left is going to land. And I think Buckley hits really, really hard. So, and, you know, nothing that really honestly stuck out too much for this fight for me. But yeah, if I had to go with anything, I'd probably go with Buckley KO at plus 125.
Locke, what are you looking at for this one here?
No bet on my side here, but I do think that we see like a vintage Buckley type of performance, move forward, throw bombs, possibly break Arroyo. I haven't really been the most impressed with Arroyo. You know, I know he has decent striking, obviously big advantage in terms of his metrics as well. But I do think that Buckley will, you know, he has that high tight guard, which I'm sure he learned a lot from in that Alessio Di Chirico fight where he just got blasted. But I found it interesting right at the beginning of that fight. I think it was Cormier that laid it out for Di Chirico. He goes, just keep blasting kicks, and he'll eventually find something. Arroyo has some pretty nasty kicks, but I just don't think he fights that well off of his back foot, and I think he's going to be going back the entire time here. I think eventually Buckley will find that KO, probably in the second or third round, as we've seen Arroyo really start to slow down later in fights. Albeit this is like the first legitimate striker that he's going up against inside the UFC. So we'll see how that adds any difference to the mix here. But I do like the Buckley side. Line's too wide, which is why I'm not too thrilled with it. Yeah, like Narco said, the Buckley KO plus 125, not too bad of a stab there. I'd be on board with that.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to be a little contrarian here. I'm actually going to go with Antonio Arroyo winning inside the distance at plus 250. And my reasoning is I think this guy is really good. I think Antonio Arroyo is a really good fighter. The problem is he's really good for about 3.5, maybe 4 minutes. The guy's gas tank's awful. Buckley has been knocked out 3 times. Arroyo definitely has a ton of power, a ton of finishing ability, at 88% finishing rate, finishing 44% by knockout, 44% by submission. So I think if Arroyo does get it done, it will be inside the distance. And man, did he look like huge at the weigh-ins compared to Buckley. But with that said, he also looked huge against Deron Win. So we can't look at that much. But yeah, I think I went through the tape, and I don't really think, Buckley's going to really take Arroyo down all that much. If he does, I think that's a phenomenal game plan, but it's just not something I've seen Buckley do as much as I'd like in terms of laying like minus 200 just about on Buckley. So I'm actually going to be contrarian, saying Arroyo does finish Buckley probably in the first round there. Moving on up the card, and 2 more fights before Locke has to head out. And then these are probably the 2 of the best fights on the card, in my opinion. Ion Kutalaba, Devin Clark, co-main event here. We'll kick it to you, Locke. Locke, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Man, Ion Kutalaba is so difficult to cap at certain times, right? Sometimes he looks like a beast, sometimes he just falls out completely flat. But one thing I'm pretty certain that he's going to go do is try to go out there and take off Devin Clark's head, because I truly believe he can see that Clark, at times does look for the door as well, similar to JP Bays, albeit that Alonzo Menafield fight, very uncharacteristic of him, right? Like, he got hit with a lot of big bombs. You expect him to go down. The guy survives that, busts up his eye, but still goes out there and outworks Alonzo Menafield for 2 more rounds. Kutalaba, I think, obviously better wrestling background than what Alonzo brought to the table, so I'm sure he might be a little bit safer in those situations. The possible cardio dump of Kutalaba is a concern, which is why I can't be the highest on him, especially at that minus 150 line. But I do like him to win inside the distance here. I do think he'll find that chin of Clark probably earlier in this fight. Kutalaba by KO, what is that, plus 100, plus 110-ish? I don't mind that. I don't mind that, but it's not the strongest of reads, man, because Devin Clark can be that grindy guy if he is able to survive that early on. It's not like he showed against Menafield. He could just push him up against the cage and get some control time. Like, Kutalaba's power really diminishes as the fight starts to go on. So, I do think Kutalaba catches him early here, just not, crazy confident about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's hard to be confident in a guy like Ion Kutalaba, right? Like, he's very good, but he does slow down as the fight goes on. The play I'm going to point out, it's actually an official play of mine. It's going to be Kutalaba wins in round 1, plus like 290. If he wins, there's a very good chance that he wins inside the distance. And, pretty much in round 1, I went through his record. It looks like just about every one of his finishes do come in round 1. He's going to come out there like a madman. Devin Clark's been finished in all 5 of his losses. I can definitely see Kutalaba finishing Clark early. And I'm just kind of surprised at the line. According to, BetOnline's plus 225, DraftKings plus 200. Here on FanDuel, it's plus 290. So, yeah, I really do like that line. I think there's a good chance that he does finish him. But if he does not finish Devin Clark in that first round, I do have concerns about Kutalaba going forward. But all in all, I did take a shot on him getting that first round finish. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight here?
I'm right on board with you, actually. I have a bet at plus 310.
Nice.
Kutalaba round 1. I still think plus 290 is good. 3 of Clark's losses are in the first round. Kutalaba hits hard. He's really, really aggressive for, like you said, probably 5 minutes at most, and then he slows down. But I think, just Clark, when you watch some of his tape, when he gets hit, he just turns his back. Like, it doesn't like getting hit, it seemed like. But, like Locke said, that Alonzo Menafield fight, it was just like somebody different or something, because he kind of took some big shots and he survived. So, but I still do like the bet at 290 here at Kutalaba round 1.
Yeah, that really stuck out to me. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Dude, I actually have 3 bets on this fight. I bet 1/10 of 1 unit on the draw, because Kutalaba comes out like a house of fire, but then he slows down. I could see him 10-8ing Clark in the first round, and then, getting 10-9 and grapple fucked a little bit in the last 2 rounds, it winding up like the Jacoby fight in a draw. I also took a very small shot on something that I just thought was out of line here, and that was Ion Kutalaba by submission at plus 1,800. He's minus 115 inside the distance, and you're getting plus 1,800 on a submission. There could easily be a club and sub. Kutalaba has a couple of wins by omoplata on his resume, and he's got a combat sambo background. So, he could potentially hurt him and then submit him on the ground. So it's just, I don't think he's going to submit him, but at 18-1, I figure why not? But the bet that I did make is just a 1.5 unit bet on the Kutalaba money line. I think he's better than Clark everywhere. I even think he's a better wrestler altogether because of his Greco-Roman background, because of his Sambo background. And, Clark's really more of just like a freestyle wrestler. So I think Kutalaba can actually match Clark in the wrestling, but I just think his striking is miles better. His power is miles better. And I think he just wants it more. So, I think he's going to win this fight kind of going away. And it took me a while to make the bet, but it's one of the bets I like the most on the card is just the Kutalaba money line.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I definitely think Kutalaba gets it done, and hopefully he gets it done in round 1. All right, so the final fight before Locke heads out of here. Locke, we'll kick it to you, and then you can head out. Main event time, Anthony Smith going against Ryan Spann. So what's your take on this fight, and what are you looking at?
I really think that this is a Ryan Spann round 1 or 2 or Anthony Smith round 3, 4, 5. And I'm leaning with the latter here. I do like Anthony Smith here. He is durable. His takedown defense, God, terrible. And Ryan Spann could definitely take advantage of that if he wants. But that's not normally how Ryan Spann fights, right? The guy wants to go out there methodically, just wait for his opponent or his moment to explode and try to knock you out. And I think he's going to try to do that here against Anthony Smith. There is that possibility he looks to go the grappling route, though, right? You got to give some credit to his head coach, Saif Sayud, down there at Fortis MMA. His first main event, why risk blowing your wad in those first 5 to 7 minutes trying to knock this guy out, and then you still have another 15 minutes to go. That would be stupid of him to do that. But even if he does try to go out there and have a grapple heavy approach, can he maintain that for as long as it takes to either finish him or go the full 25 minutes? Again, I think Smith is quite durable from bottom. I think Spann does slow down as fights start to go on. So even if he does look to grapple fuck him going into second and third rounds, how much damage is he really going to be able to inflict? And, he's still going to be dealing with a decent guard from Anthony Smith at times. If he's able to relegate him and keep him at in that mount position, not full mount, but just have him in his guard, he should be able to kind of make him work and tire him out slowly like that. We've seen Anthony Smith come back in fights, right? Like he's finished a couple fights in round 3 and 4. I think he could do that here as well against Ryan Spann, who is just not that experienced with that 5-round caveat in this fight, right? I think I saw a statistic out there: 80% of Anthony Smith's fights at 205 are 5-rounders. Like the guy is born in 5-rounders at this point in time. It's crazy, but I think his experience will come through. I think he finishes Ryan Spann probably round 4. I'm going to call it ground and pound TKO.
So what is your best bet for it? Would it be Smith inside the distance?
I'd say Smith inside the distance. I also don't mind, again, a little chalky. Fight doesn't go to decision. Minus 290 if you want to make it like a parlay piece even. I think that's not too bad. I think both guys will finish here. I'd be surprised if this fight actually starts round 5, to be honest. I think by round 4, it should be done.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, Locke, thank you for coming on. We're getting you out here about 20 minutes there, so right on time. Go ahead and plug what you want. And again, thanks for coming on, man.
I do want to say one fight that we didn't really get to talk about that I just quickly want to touch on. Armin Cerukian inside the distance. That at plus money, I think is a very good bet. Plus 155, plus 170 at certain spots. I think he, pushes the pace early here and then finishes Giagos round 2 or round 3. So I really like that spot as well. In terms of plugs, obviously Ultimate Wayne Show every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, propping you up every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern with Cody on the pay-per-view events and my guy John Stargarian from the Club and Sub podcast on Thursdays. And then the Lawcast, which usually drops sometime between Monday and Wednesday of fight week. And yeah, thanks for having me on, Brady. I truly love doing these. So please do slide in those DMs whenever you guys need another person to round out these casts that you guys have, because I love doing this stuff. Wheezy, love you. Narco, love you. And yeah, shout out to all the viewers. Drop a like and subscribe for my guy Brady over here before you guys get on out of here. You guys are getting some great content and some great analysis. Appreciate it, Brady.
Appreciate it, Locke. There he goes. All right. Appreciate Locke coming on there on short notice to fill out the crew for a little bit. All right. So right back to it. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this main event here?
Yeah, so I'm echoing everything that Locke just said, and I found a bet last night that I really liked. So I really do believe it's Spann early or it's Smith late, and Smith's been fighting nothing but 5-round fights since he's got up to 205. He's got great conditioning, and he comes back. He finishes fights in the 3rd and 4th round quite often. So I bet Anthony Smith to win in rounds 3 or 4 at plus 650 on DraftKings. I put a half unit on it. I'm trying to trying to get up a little over 3 units on that play. I'm kind of just trying to bracket that time when I think Smith is at his most dangerous here, and when I think Spann, who hasn't had any 5-round fights in recent memory, is going to be at his most vulnerable. So I'm picking Smith to win in rounds 3 or 4 at plus 650.
Yeah, me and Weezer are going to be rooting for a Smith finish in either round 3, 4, and 5 because I have that 5 prop sprinkled in there. Narco, what are you looking at for this main event here?
Yeah, I don't really have anything on this fight. One thing that kind of stuck out when I went back and looked at these guys, I think the under 2.5 actually is not a bad spot at minus 135, just because of how Spann is going to come forward. Half of his losses have come in the first. Smith has a bunch of first and second round KOs. And to be honest, I just, smaller ring. I just like the under 2.5 in this fight. Spann, yeah, the longer this fight goes, I think it favors Smith, but I think Spann is not going to want to hang around for too long. So I like the under 2.5.
Looks like we're all thinking violence here. For me, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I like the fight doesn't go to decision minus 300. I'm with Locke here. I think that's a pretty solid parlay piece. I just really see no way this does not finish inside the distance. I think it's going to be Spann having success early or Smith getting him out of there late. So I like the fight doesn't go, covers both sides. Don't really have to worry about picking a winner. I think both guys are very dangerous. Both guys are capable finishers, and both guys are more than capable of being finished as well. So I think the fight doesn't go to decision at minus 300 is a solid parlay piece there. So we talked about 4 fights. We will go down and cover what we have not yet. And let's get to it. So the fight of the night potential here, Emily Whitmire going against Hannah Goldie and Wheezy. Like we always say on this show, there are only 2 rules. Rule number 1, use current UFC lines. And rule number 2, no passing. So let's kick it to you. What do you have for this fight here?
Brady, I didn't get to this point in my life by following other people's rules. All right. That's one thing Uncle Wheezy has never done. That's what I live my life by. So there's nobody in the world that can make me bet this fight. Not you, not Narco Cop. Nobody out there that's watching this show can make me bet this fight. If I catch any of you guys betting this fight, I'm sending the 1-800-GAMBLER orderlies over to your house, putting you in a straitjacket. We're going to throw you in a padded room and then have a long talk with you about bankroll management and having solid reads when you bet. I'm not betting it, dude. Somebody puts a gun to my head, I go Goldie by decision, or just Goldie at plus 105, but no way I would bet this fight.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah, I mean, for me, if anything, if I was forced to make a bet here, it probably would be Goldie, the money line plus 108. I don't love it, obviously. I'm not actually going to bet it here, but if I was forced to, it would be this one. I think she's a very strong fighter. If she can stuff the takedowns, I do like her volume. I don't mind her striking. I think she's going to have a striking advantage in this fight. On the flip side, I can very well see Whitmire getting Hannah Goldie to the ground and kind of controlling her for 15 minutes as well. All in all, probably the toughest fight in the card here. But if I had to pick something, it would be that Goldie money line underdog shot. But it's a very tough fight. Narco, what's your best bet for this fight here?
My best bet of this fight is not to bet this fight. That's the first thing. But if I had to take something, and we have to take something here, I'd probably take Goldie by decision at plus 200. I just think she's a tougher fighter. Like, she's mentally tougher than Whitmore. Whitmore, for me, is pretty much a fighter that when the pressure's on or she's getting beat up, like, she's the type of girl that just gives up. And I don't see that with Goldie. You saw it in the Diana Belbita fight. She was getting beat up really bad. Still made a fight of it in the 3rd round, and she almost won. So I just think she's the mentally stronger fighter here. And skills, I mean, I don't like either girl's skills. So
yeah, I think it's a clear pass for sure. So we'll move on to the next fight here. Curious to hear you guys' take on this one. We have Gustavo Lopez going against Aletang. Hey, Lee, we'll kick it off to Narco. Narco, what are you looking at for this fight?
I have actually 2 bets for this fight. I have fight goes to decision minus 142. I think the line is gone now. And I actually also like Aletang at minus 125. I have a bet on him at that. Currently, I probably would play the Aletang 130, 132. I just think he has the striking is very equivalent. I think he's probably he has a lot of power actually when he throws. I just think he can use his wrestling in this fight. I think he's the better grappler. And I think that's in his back pocket if he needs it. I think he will use it, and I think that's going to help him win this fight.
Yep, I'm actually right there with you. I like Aletang Haley. It's going to be by decision, which is sitting at, if I can find it, plus 160. I see plus 180 on FanDuel. I'm with you. I think he's going to use that wrestling. Very good wrestler. I think he's going to take down Lopez, kind of control him, hopefully stay out of trouble. Lopez is very dangerous on the mat. That's the only thing I'm worried about. But yeah, I definitely think he can go to his wrestling, win minutes. I think the striking is close and competitive. So I'll take Aletang Haley to win by decision there. I like it. I mean, maybe he could finish Lopez. Lopez has been finished a few times in his career, but Aletang Haley has not really shown to be much of a finisher, only a 50% finish rate. So I'll take Aletang Haley wins by decision at that plus 180 price tag. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this fight?
You know, this is one of those fights that I've went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on all week. I think these guys are extremely well matched. Exactly like Narco Cop said, I think the guy that could potentially be the better minute winner here is going to be Aletang, simply because of the wrestling and the wrestling background, the ability to be able to get the fight to the ground. And we saw when Lopez fought Dvalishvili took him down 13 out of 18 attempts. So if Aletang does want to win minutes that way, I think he can. But I also like Lopez's boxing to be a lot better than Aletang's. Aletang throws everything into every strike. I think Lopez is a little more technically sound on the feet, and he's got power in both hands. So because I see it so close, I'm just going to go with the Gustavo Lopez money line here because it's plus money and for no other reason than that. I really have this fight as close to 50-50 as I can get it, so I can get a little bit of an edge there with a plus 115 on the Lopez money line. Not a strong read. It's going to be a damn good fight. I think it's going to be a close fight, but I'll just take the plus money on Lopez.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a close fight for sure. I don't mind it. Yeah, for me, I'm kind of more on the Aletang Haley side using his wrestling. But if he does not use his wrestling, if it is played on the feet, I can definitely see it being very, very close and competitive there. I do want to shout out the chat. 212 of you in here watching. If you all can leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, it'd be much appreciated. I see you in here. Gaming Wolf, Anton in the chat, Earl, Payne in the chat as well. Gaming Wolf, Ahmed, Freddie, Sean, Woo, Poker, and then Thought Criminal. Thank you all so much for hanging out. Let me know your guys' best bet for each fight. I'll try to pull it up on the screen as well. But yeah, we have a lot more fights to break down, so I say we get right back into it, and we'll move on to the next fight of the night, and we have Impa Kasaganai going against Carlston Harris. Let's kick it to you first, Uncle Weezy. What are you liking for this fight here?
Sorry, I was on mute there. So I got to, you and I both bet this fight over, almost 2 weeks ago at this point. We bet the Harris money line. I got it at plus 120. I think you got it in the plus 130s because you were on FanDuel. So I like that bet, but the current line is Impa minus 115 and Carlston minus 105. So not as much value there. But what I am going to give you guys is Carlston Harris by decision right now on DraftKings is plus 400. And I think that his path to victory here is to stay close to Impa, not to strike with him, to put him up against the cage, to try to chain wrestle, win minutes and bank rounds using that grappling heavy style of his. And if he does that, I don't think he's going to get Impa out of there. He could. I like Harris to win the fight. To be safe, you should probably just go with the money line if you're on the Harris side. But if you want to get that extra juice, and I think the most likely path to victory for Harris is to a decision using that grappling heavy style and winning minutes. So plus 400 is pretty juicy. Harris by decision plus 400 is the bet for me.
I'm kind of feeling that, especially at plus 400, that's definitely juicy. For me, I took the safe route. I took the plus 100 on Harris. Obviously, I did bet him earlier, like 2 weeks ago, like you said, plus 134. But yeah, Harris plus 100. I think he's going to, take down Impa. I think he's going to, if he doesn't take him down, I think he can hold him against the cage. For Impa to win this fight, like he's going to have to A, stuff the takedowns, which I personally don't think he does, or B, keep this fight at range. And that's just not how Harris fights. Harris comes out and he always fights to a really good game plan, always fights to his strength, and that strength is pushing his opponent against the cage. If he is able to get, Impa Kasaganai down, that's where I do have concerns about the decision prop that you have, Wheezy, as I do think Harris is very dangerous with his submissions. But yeah, I think plus 400 is fine. For me, though, I'm going to take the safe route. It's going to cover both angles, decision, submission, maybe even knockout. Harris hits like a truck. and just take the plus 100 underdog tag there. I see a minus 110. I see it at Pick'em and other books, but I'll still plus 100 on FanDuel there. Narco Cop, what are you looking at for this fight here?
I have two bets here. I have the under 2.5 at plus 118, and I also have Harris by sub at plus 340. I just think, going back and watching both these guys, first of all, Impa, this is going to be by far the best grappler he's ever faced, especially submission grappler. So, Harris throws punches to get into the clinch. He throws really hard. He's got a good body lock clinch, trips, stuff like that. I think he's going to be able to have success here to take Impa down. And I just think when it's down there, the levels of these guys are completely different. And I just think, Harris, once he gets him down there, it's going to be his world. So, I like, and I want to say, like, if it's standing, I do think Impa's probably the better, he is the better technical striker. He's getting better. And I think, looking back at his record, he doesn't have many knockouts, but the guy hits hard, man. I still think he hits hard. And I think, from watching Carlston Harris in that last fight against Aguilera rocked him really bad in the first round with the uppercut. He recovered pretty decently, but I just think, if it stays standing for too long, I'm not saying Harris can't knock him out because Harris throws really hard, but I do think Impa has a really good chance of taking him out if it stays standing for too long.
Yep, if you did that, that would be Impa's first knockout in his career. But yeah, I see the same thing you're seeing. Impa does hit very hard. The knockout has not came yet. Maybe it does come here, but yeah, I think Harris isn't going to give him many opportunities to do so, to be honest. So we'll move on to the next fight here. We have Erin Blanchfield going against Sarah Alpar. Narco, we'll kick it right back to you. What are you looking at for this fight here?
I don't have a bet again. The line is kind of crazy right now. Blanchfield has a lot of skills on the ground. Alpar doesn't really have any skills anywhere, to be honest. I don't like what I saw on tape at all from her. Blanchfield, if I had to take something, the one thing with Alpar is she is tough. So just because of the toughness, I'll give Blanchfield by decision at plus 110. You're turning like a minus 400 into a plus number. I still think she could probably sub her also. But yeah, I just like that better.
Yeah, I feel it. I was very close to playing Blanchfield inside the distance all week. My book took forever to open a prop on Blanchfield. I saw it at plus 285. I believe it was on 5 dimes earlier in the week. And then once my book was able to open it, it was like plus 190. So at that point, I did pass, but I'll still give it out. Erin Blanchfield went inside the distance, plus 175. Like you mentioned, the reason I did not officially play this was because Alpar is very, very tough. But I've seen Blanchfield put in some fighters in some really bad positions, like Tracy Cortez. It looked like she almost submitted her in that fight. And I will say that she does eventually get Alpar out of there. But like you mentioned, Alpar is extremely tough. I think it might be a submission if she does get her out of there. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Blanchfield is the better fighter. Is she at minus 400 worthy? Maybe. We'll definitely see. But I do think she gets it done one way or another. Weezy, what are you looking at? I know you're on Blanchfield. Are you liking her by decision or are you liking her by ass shaving?
Yeah, the thing is, it's so hard to know which way to go on this one. I've got Blanchfield down as my ass shaving of the week. I think she's just better everywhere than Alpar. Alpar's strength is wrestling, but Blanchfield's just really, really good on the ground. And I mean, you could watch her wrestling a 135er in Tracy Cortez and getting the better of a lot of those exchanges. Very close fight with Cortez. And she's beaten Kay Hansen. She's beaten Sanchez. She's beaten Leonardo. She's got a really good resume coming into this fight. I think she could potentially knock out Alpar on the feet. I think she could sub Alpar. And I think that this could also be a decision. So the best thing that I can do is just tell you guys, put Erin Blanchfield in your parlays at minus 400. I think that, I think she wins this fight more than 80% of the time, which is the implied probability of the bet. I just don't see Alpar having much other than wrestling. And once she gasses out because of that offensive wrestling attack, Blanchfield is just going to be better. So, yeah, I just got to do the money line here.
Wheezy Vito's asking what is an ass shaving?
Ass shaving is just a term from my youth. It's one of those terms that my wrestling coach back in 7th grade, he told me, shout out Mr. Pager at Lincoln Junior High School. He told us that the greatest thing about wrestling was that you could be out there getting your ass shaved 14-0, turn the guy, pin him, and you win. And even at the age of 10, I realized the genius in that statement, and it's stayed in my head ever since. So an ass shaving is a one-sided dominant performance in a fight that leads you to believe, wow, that dude really got their ass shaved in there. It was one-sided. It was pillar to post. It was one-way traffic. It's just an ass shaving.
Thank you for the explanation there. I think we got it now. All right, so short notice replacement, Brandon Jenkins going against Rong Zhu. We'll kick it to Narco. What do you like for this fight here?
I got a pretty contrarian take, I guess, on this one. I missed the line on Jenkins early. That was like plus 280-ish, plus 290, I believe. It's kind of gone. So I actually played Jenkins by decision at plus 600 just because of Rong's like inactivity on the feet. You go back and watch even his regional tape. Like the guy's just a straight counter striker, doesn't throw a lot. He not really impressive, man. When Rodrigo Vargas doubles you up and strikes, and he is way smaller than him, it's just not a good look, man. I know he took Vargas down, 2 or 3 times, but I wasn't impressed with this guy. I know he's at ATT now. He's training at ATT. I'm sure he's improving, but I just think the line is too wide, man. And I'm gonna take a shot with Jenkins. Not like I'm really high on the guy. I just think he probably will be more active, and if he can stay away from the big shots on the feet, he might actually grind out some kind of decision here. So
no, I definitely get. Go ahead.
I said I'm happy to take plus 600, even 500 to be honest.
Yeah,
it's at 500 now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely get that angle. Like if there is no finish in this fight, I do think that Rong Zhu is very low volume, and I can see Jenkins winning a decision. So yeah, but for me, I'm looking the other way. I'm kind of looking at the fight doesn't go to decision here, and this was really close to making an official play, or the under 2.5, which is minus 125, I believe. And the reason I did not play that is because Jenkins does look very, very tough, but he is coming in on short notice here and is taking a look at these finish rates. When these guys win, they finish fights. Rong Zhu, an 89% finish rate. Brandon Jenkins, a 87% finish rate. Rong Zhu has been finished in 3 out of his 4 losses, 3 by submission. Jenkins has been finished twice, 1 by knockout, 1 by sub. So I kind of took the violence route, but again, Jenkins is just very, very tough, and that's ultimately why it's not an official play, but it did stick out to me. But yeah, like you mentioned, Narco, if there is no finish in this fight, there is a very good chance that Jenkins probably just does more and wins a decision. And at plus 600, plus 500, I definitely get your angle there. Wheezy, curious to hear your take on this one here.
Yeah, it's the same as yours, man. We got Jenkins coming in on really short notice, coming off a very recent fight as well. And, and sometimes when you see a situation like that, you realize that the person coming in on short notice probably realizes, hey, you know what, maybe I'd better just try to go in there and get this guy out of there as fast as possible. Because, yes, he just fought. Yes, these guys do tend to stay ready, but it's a tall ask to ask somebody to make their UFC debut on less than 1 week's notice. And we had to worry about Zhu Rong coming all the way from China in his last performance, but he's been training in Florida. So he's been in the country. He's not going to be jet lagged. He's ready to go. I think that this fight is going to end in under 2.5 rounds, no matter who wins. So I'm taking that under 2.5 at minus 125. Just those finish stats numbers that you gave lead me to believe that there's a lot of value in that number.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Again, I was really close to officially playing it, but yeah, that did stick out to me. So we will move up to the best fight on the card here. Pannie Kianzad going against Raquel Pennington. Narco, what's sticking out to you on this one?
What's sticking out is Raquel Pennington at minus 130. I bet it. It's still around there. I still like it. That's my best bet here. I just think, look at the level of opposition both have faced. Look at Pennington's losses, who she's lost to. Top tier fighters. I just think, the striking, Kianzad is probably the better striker here, but I just think, it's even on the feet, it's close, but I think the grappling edge here with Pennington, I just think that's where she's going to pull away in this fight. And to get her at minus 130, I think it's a really, really good tag.
There you go. Wheezy, what are you looking at?
Yeah, I want to be just a little bit more greedy than Narco Cop and just pick Raquel Pennington by decision. Both these girls are tough. Neither one of them is really much of a finisher in terms of in their UFC careers. But I got to tell you, I agree with everything that Narco Cop said in terms of especially level of competition that these two ladies have faced. I had money on Alexis Davis to win by decision over Pannie Kianzad in her last fight. I got that ticket at plus 350. I felt like I got robbed. I legitimately thought, Alexis Davis outboxed, Kianzad in that fight. And if Alexis Davis can do that to her, I can count more on Pennington being able to do the same thing, but I can also count more on Pennington actually going to her wrestling, which is something that Davis didn't do in that fight. Pennington really good at controlling her opponents on the cage and on the ground, and she will go to those takedown attempts. She gets them at less than 30% accuracy, but she will go to them. So I see her dominating this fight, winning it by decision, plus 110 on DraftKings. I think it's a pretty good bet.
Yep, I'm going to agree with both of you, and I'm going to go with Pennington wins by decision myself, plus 125. It is on FanDuel there. And yeah, I agree with a lot of what you guys said. Pennington, much more better competition. Weezy, you talked about Alexis Davis outstriking Kianzad. And if Alexis Davis would just go for a takedown, right? Like she would have easily won that fight. She went for one. She was able to get it, but I think she only attempted like one takedown, which makes no sense to me. I think Pennington will go for takedowns. I think Pennington will push Kianzad against the cage, get control time, rack it up there, and probably win a decision here. Plus 125. Don't hate the money line as well, but I'm with you, Weezy. I wanted to be a little bit more greedy and took the decision prop there. All right, we have about 250 people in here. If you all can hit the like button, that'd be much, much appreciated. Thank you for hanging out. We go live every week on a Saturday, 1 hour prior to when the prelims start. We're giving our best bet for each and every fight on the card. Even Hannah Goldie versus Emily Whitmire. No passing on this show. We're going to give you guys a bet for each and every fight. All right, so we'll move up the card. Tafon and Chukwu going against Mike Rodriguez. Weezy, we'll start with you. What is sticking out to you on this one?
Yeah, this is a really hard one for me to pick, but let's see here. I was gonna just go with the Mike Rodriguez money line here. I'm not a big fan of Tafon. I think he's kind of basic. I think he throws with a lot of power, and he's looked good against lower regional scene competition doing that. He's way less experienced here than Rodriguez. Rodriguez has fought the way tougher competition over his career. Rodriguez has losses on his record that really should be wins, that specifically the Ed Herman fight. That being said, you can never trust Mike Rodriguez with your money, so this is such a hard fight to bet on. I don't trust Tafon Nchukwi. I don't trust Mike Rodriguez, but this is basically a put the gun to my head type of bet, and I'm going to just take the plus money on Rodriguez it's plus 100, so you're getting even money. Man, like this is lined perfectly for me. It's lined in a place where I don't feel there's value on either side, but I just kind of feel like sometimes you see these guys disappoint like Rodriguez, and then they come in against a guy that's probably going to be disappointing in the future, and you get just a little bit better implied probability on the underdog side here. I'm just going to say the Rodriguez money line. I hate it though.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Narco, what are you looking at for this one?
I have a bet on the under 2.5 at minus 106. It's minus 112 now on FanDuel. I like that also. You just go back and watch Rodriguez. Guy has a lot of power withstanding, really nice elbows. He's a Muay Thai guy, really good in the clinch, clinch elbows, clinch knees. Tafon, moving back up to 205. I don't know if that's good or bad for him. I mean, last fight against Park, we saw him get busted up really bad. He's going to have a 5.5 inch reach disadvantage. He's 4 inches shorter than Rodriguez. The thing with Tafon is he's not a grappler. He's not going to try to take this to the ground. So standing, man, like Rodriguez is very dangerous standing, and he hits with a lot of power. So go back and look at his whole career. I think he's only been to decision twice. So maybe 3 times. I'm not sure. But, I mean, this guy's a kill or be killed type of fighter. And like Weezy said, this guy, if he doesn't get you out of there, somehow he flakes out and he gets stopped. So why not hit the under 2.5 at minus at almost even money at 205 in a small cage? So I like it.
Yeah, that line makes zero sense to
That's
me.
a great bet, man. That's
My
a great
goodness.
bet.
If I get out of here on time, that will probably be a play. I did not see that. I did see that throughout the week. A lot of money's been coming in on the fight goes to decision and the over 2.5. So yeah, -112. My goodness, this fight's probably going to finish more often than not. So I won't steal yours, though, Narc. Although that is phenomenal look there. I went with Mike Rodriguez wins inside the distance, +300. Yeah, kind of I don't know. I think he can finish Tafon. Tafon obviously has never been knocked out. He's never been submitted. But Mike Rodriguez, when he does win, it is inside the distance. He's never won by decision. A 100% finish rate for Mike Rodriguez, like you mentioned, Narco. Tafon is probably not going to take him down. He should, but watching tape on Tafon, it's not really something he goes to as much as you really like to see if he were on the Tafon side. So I think Rodriguez is going to kind of get the fight that he wants here, and I think he's going to knock out Tafon and Chukwu +300, but yeah, -112 for the under 2.5. That's phenomenal. So we will move on up the card, and we have Tony Gravely going against Nate Maness. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this one?
I am looking at the Gravely money line here. It's -200. It's a little bit wide. But Gravely's just a really high output guy. He's going to go to that wrestling over and over again. And one of the things that's actually kind of underrated about Gravely are his striking numbers. They're pretty good. He's even got a couple of knockdowns in the UFC. So I think it's not as one-sided as most people think it is going to be on the feet, but I do see Gravely kind of going to that wrestling quite a bit here, being successful with it. Does he get Maness out of there? Probably not, but I'm not willing to just bet him, inside the distance or just bet him by decision. I think the safest way is just to not overthink it. I think Gravely's just better all around than Maness, and I'll just take him at -200 on the money line.
Sounds good. Narco, what are you looking at for this one?
I don't have a bet, but I like actually fight goes to decision. I think it's -128 on FanDuel. I just, both guys are very, very like Maness. You watch him get clipped in that fight against his last fight, which he won against Luke Sanders, and he got hit with some bombs, man. And the dude just took him. He's got a really, really good chin. Gravely is also extremely durable. I know he's going to be able to get him down, but Maness is not a fish out of water on his back. So that's the thing where I don't think, Gravely's the better grappler. I don't know if he's the better submission grappler, though. So I do think Maness is going to be able to stay safe. And then on the feet, I do favor Maness, honestly. He's the longer fighter. He does have power. Gravely is not bad, though, on the feet defensively. He keeps his hands up. So that's goes into my fight goes to decision. What is it, -152? Did it just pop up? Because it was just -128. But yeah, I think this fight goes to decision, honestly.
Fight goes to decision for you.
I think on FanDuel it was just -128, and somehow it just popped up to.
Somebody placed a bet on it. Yeah, for me, I'm going to go with the Gravely money line -200. Yeah, I guess I'll give Maness the advantage in the striking, but I don't know. Like Maness is so low volume, so he's probably like the better striker. But I can see Gravely outlanding him. To be honest, like Maness just does not throw anything at times. You take a look at some of his numbers in his very first two fights, and they're horrible. They're horrible. He's been outlanded in both fights. He has won both fights. But yeah, I like Gravely here to mix in the takedowns here or there. I think he's going to win those first two rounds. I guess the third round concerns me, if anything, because Gravely does slow down. But I think by then he's going to win those first two rounds. And, we've seen Maness take advantage of fighters that have slowed down. Luke Sanders slowed down in that second round. He finished him. And then in his first fight against Munoz Jr., well, I thought he lost that fight. But yeah, I like Gravely here quite a bit. I did bet him earlier in the week, or like 2 weeks ago, but -200, I still like him here quite a bit. So give me Gravely for the win. I could see by finish. I could see by decision. Probably by decision, though. So give me Gravely there.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Sorry, Brady. I did have it written down. Maness round 3 +2,200. I think he's going to make Gravely, like, Maness doesn't, like, yeah, he gets taken down, but it's not easy to take the guy down. Like, he makes you work to get him down. So, like you said, Gravely does slow down. You see it in a lot of his tape in round 3. He slows, and I think Maness, his cardio is pretty damn good. And if you go back and look at his Instagram, the dude does a bunch of cardio. So Round 3 plus 2,200 is not terrible.
Yeah, I could see it. Maness is known for pulling wins out of his ass. Maybe he does in round 3 here if Gravely does slow down. So we move up the card, and so we have 2 fights left to break down. Mandy Bohm, Ariane Lipski, and then Christos Giagos, and then Armin Cerukian. So let's start with Mandy Bohm versus Lipski first. I want to end on a high note. So Bohm versus Lipski. Narco, what are you looking at for this one?
I don't have a bet on this one. What I looked at is, Bohm is unimpressive everywhere. Lipski has good striking. Her striking defense is not the best, but she does throw with some heat when she's on the feet. The problem with her is she gets taken down by a breeze. So I do, if I had to choose something, just because of how bad Bohm is, I think Lipski, by KO at plus 500 is not bad.
Lipski KO. What did you say it was?
Plus 500, I believe.
Okay. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this one here?
Yeah, that's not bad. I got a bet on Bohm here. I got Bohm at minus 105 like a week and a half ago. You can get her at plus 110 now. The thing about Lipski is her wins in the UFC are against Luana Carolina and Isabella de Padua. I don't think either of them are UFC level. And the thing about Bohm is that she's really well-rounded, and I don't think Lipski's really any better on the feet than Bohm from the tape that I've seen on Bohm. She's got a fantastic jab. She's got a kickboxing background, and I think she's going to be just as good standing as Lipski is, but Lipski is just incredibly deficient on the ground. And one thing that I have seen out of Bohm on the tape is that she's well-rounded. She's got a good top game. She's got good grappling. When she takes people down, she keeps them there and she hurts them with ground and pound. So I see this being close on the feet, but I don't see it being close on the ground. And Lipski's very easy to take down. So I think it's just easy to go with the Bohm money line here, get a little bit of plus money, and I think she's going to win this fight.
Yeah, I'm with you there, Weezy. I don't feel great about it, but what I did go with is actually the fight doesn't go to decision. I do think Bohm does win this fight. I do think she takes it down to the mat. Ariane Lipski has been finished more often than not. But yeah, I'm taking the fight doesn't go. It is plus 160. So we broke this fight down a few weeks ago, Weezy, and it got pulled off the card, but it was at like a crazy number. I would have liked it much better at like plus 200 and something, but looks like the odds makers are all over it. I can definitely see a finish here on either side. Bohm can get takedowns, good submissions, ground and pound as well. On the flip side, Ariane Lipski hits like a truck for the division. So yeah, I'm kind of taking it. Fight doesn't go, covers both sides. I don't love it. As far as a pick, I'm going to go with Bohm, but that fight doesn't go decision was something that did stick out to me there. And then finally, the last fight on the card, we have Giagos going against Armin Cerukian. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this one?
Yeah, I'll give you a juicy one here. Because Giagos has had rough conditioning in the past, and because Cerukian keeps a crazy pace, and he has the pace to keep up a grappling heavy game plan for 3 rounds. I see Cerukian getting Giagos out of there in the 3rd round. 3rd round win for Armin Cerukian is plus 900 right now on DraftKings. Nice juicy little prop. It covers the inside the distance, and I think it kind of hones in on the time when it actually will be done. Cerukian 3rd round finish at plus 900 is the bet.
Very, very juicy. Narco, what are you looking at for this one here?
I am going to get a little bit greedier than Uncle Wheezy.
What?
I actually like Armin Cerukian by submission round 3 plus 2,000. For that specific reason that he's going to get this fight to the ground. And the way Giagos slows down, and we know that Cerukian does not slow down, man. The guy's going to keep coming.
Yeah.
And if he's going to have it there on the mat, I mean, those chokes, he's got a bunch of rear naked chokes in his wins. So, plus 2,000 is a big number. Cerukian to me just he's not like a huge hitter. So, I love that line honestly at plus 2,000. That's seems too wide for a 3rd round submission when we know that the fight is probably going to be down there come 3rd round.
I like it. Yeah. Juicy props from both of you guys. I guess I'm going to take the easier way out and just go with Armin Cerukian wins inside the distance. But yeah, I think if he does win inside the distance, it's probably in round 3. So I definitely like both your guys' angles. But yeah, for me, taking it safer, Armin inside the distance. He has no UFC finishes, but he's never fought somebody that gasses out as bad as Christos Giagos. Giagos also has a 50% takedown defense. I think Cerukian's going to just put a pace on Giagos that he's not going to keep up with. Also, on top of that, you're taking a nearly minus 1,000 favorite, minus 1,000 on Bet Online even, and turning him to a plus 140 dog, taking him inside the distance. I think that is the way I'd probably play it there. So, yeah, I think we covered about all of the fights. If we did, right? Are we missing anything?
We got them all. We got them all.
We did them all.
All right, so I will now kick it over to the guys and let them know where they can find you and what they usually have going on for fight week. So we'll start with Wheezy. Wheezy, let them know where they can find you and then what you have going on a normal fight week.
All right, so you can find me on my YouTube channel, which is Uncle Wheezy. You can also hit me up on Twitter at MMA Wheezy. Every Tuesday night on my channel, I do a full card breakdown called Just the Tip, cover all the fights, and I also do balls deep breakdowns of individual fights. You can find me on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday night at 5:15 Central Time with DFS by the numbers for stat diggers. And then you can find us at 6 o'clock Central Time every Tuesday night for a DFS show on Pub Sports Radio, DraftKings MMA with Brady, with Luke from Sparring with Reality, and with AJ MMA Betting. So we have a really good time for all those shows. Join us there. Thanks for having me on, Brady. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate it.
Sounds good. Narco, what do you have going on throughout the week, and where can they find you?
They can find me at NarcoCop on Twitter. I have a YouTube channel, NarcoCop MMA. I've been pumping out more content. I do have a show for the Dana White's Contender Series every Monday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have a blast there. That's about it. I'm going to try to be doing more Thursday shows for the UFC cards, but unfortunately had some things go wrong this week and I couldn't do the show. But basically that's it. I just want to say thank you to all the viewers, all the people in chat. Without them, these shows wouldn't do anything.
100% agree there. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I had a decent amount of people on the live chat. If you guys can leave a like, subscribe, go check out Wheezy, go check out Narco as well. Like Wheezy mentioned, we will be live on Sunday on Pub Sports Radio at 6:15 p.m. Eastern Time. We're moving it up 1 hour to not get in the way of Sunday Night Football. Also on DraftKings at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time every Tuesday on Pub Sports. And go check out Pub Sports. The guys will be going live in about 3 minutes. Live betting, live commentary. Go ahead over there, hit the sub button. We're really close to 10K over at Pub. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Good luck for UFC Vegas 37, and let's make some money on this 14 fight card. Good luck, everybody.